What's up, everyone? Today we're going to be, of course, working on the Buick GS engine. Now, I probably will be uploading an episode a little bit later where I just a time lapse of spot cleaning this. I haven't gotten to the other side yet, but with the dipstick missing and stuff like that, I'll get to that later. I think this is just going to be a real brief episode about what you're looking for when you're cleaning and deburring. Now, the real goal of this, you know, it's partly weight reduction. There are a lot more aggressive ways of reducing weight inside of an engine, but because I have a feeling that this is going to be a visible engine down the road and a hot rod or something, while I have it out right now and I'm trying to get it cleaned up and started and everything, that I might as well just clean and debur it now. Words shouldn't be this hard, but apparently they are. So what we're looking for is just simple stuff that were obviously overlooked either in the casting process or cleaning up afterwards. Like this area right here, you can definitely see that it's not a structural requirement to have it there, and it's definitely pretty gnarly. This area, of course, is the timing cover, as well as it's got an external oil pump, so we got to be really careful with this. But there are some spots that when it's all painted up, like this right here, you can see that there's a real nasty casting mark right there, or casting line. And then through here, a lot of this, like right here, that's just basically burrs that were left. So, you know, we don't need, I don't know if this is structural. It kind of looks like it might be, so we're going to go ahead and leave those in there. But things like this, we're going to go ahead and take out. Now, if you're looking to do a lot more weight reduction in an engine block, my recommendation is going over to Uncle Tony's Garage on YouTube, and he actually removes, I think, 5.5 pounds out of a straight 6 engine, and he's impressive. Like, that's crazy. And there's a lot of stuff that you just don't need if you're trying to do like a race engine. This isn't going to be a race engine, so we're not going to be trying to aim for 5 pounds off of it. That being said, people that don't think that 5 pounds is a lot, when ounces count, you better bet that pounds matter. So this is just going to be more, you know, visible, I guess, quality down the road, so it doesn't look so terrible. Like, there's a lot, especially if you look down through here. Not that you're going to be looking right down there, but somebody might. I've judged my fair shows of car shows, and there are times, depending on how nitpicky you're supposed to be, they look everywhere, absolutely everywhere. And if you're looking for a show engine, like, I understand you're not going to get all the pitting out, but this is just really poor quality of the original casting. So they do sand casting. I accidentally said investment casting. Investment casting is one of my favorite casting, and it's impractical for an engine in mass production, period. Absolutely, you can't do it. But when you have sand casting, you are bound to get some breaks like that, like this. Like, we're gonna probably try to clean up some things, but like this right here, like that's gross. But you're not gonna feather in the head to the block. You know, that is what it is. But you can at least clean up the burrs through here. So that's all this episode's gonna be. I'm gonna just show you a couple techniques that I have for just cleaning things up so that they look a little bit more professional. So if you're trying to build a hot rod or a T-bucket, or, you know, whatever your engine's showing, it may not matter much, but some people might just happen to see the schmoo that was left from the casting and then kind of be turned off by it. So if you're one of those people, I'm not saying that I am, but, you know, it takes all kinds. So someday down the road, I'll have a full episode of this thing being cleaned, or I might scrap the episode. Let me know if you guys want to just see a time lapse of just cleaning the engine. If you do, it'll be up once it's done. But I gotta start deburring this, mostly because it's bothering me. So we'll clean the edges, deburr it, and that'll be it. This will be a pretty quick episode. Now that you have a nice workstation right here, we have this is the first one I'm going to work on, and we could take a little bit of the edges off of these. You know, to me, it's just going to be an aesthetic thing. But if you're really trying to cut some weight off, you could be a lot more aggressive than what I'm going to be, depending on where you are. But you have little tiny abrasive wheels like this, if it will focus. And that really is just an abrasive wheel. It's kind of like a, or like a cylinder rather. But then you have the nice ones, like the different types of aggressive ends of these tungsten ones. And these are actually deburrers. And they have all kinds of different shapes. I have a metric ton of them. If you're trying to do something like I use these guys right here, they're a different, not grit, but they're different aggressive textures, if you will. And if you're trying to, say, port and polish a head, these guys work fantastic. That's what you're going to want to use. And then a little flap wheel, like you take a piece of straight wire, or not wire, but pipe, solid pipe, and not pipe, but like a rod. Take a rod, and you cut a little line all the way down it, and you put some abrasive, what do you call it? Almost like sandpaper, and you just wrap it up, and then as it spins, it's like a flap wheel that way as well. So something like this, just homemade instead of bought. So yeah, we'll go ahead and start working on this. We're probably going to use the flat one a lot, and one of the pineapple ones. So those are probably what we're going to use for this job. I might use a little bit of this, but these are a lot more finite. They don't last as long. Work really well on aluminum though. So I guess best we can do is just get to work on it. Oh, and one more thing. Can't remember if I mentioned or not, but Dremels work fantastic in this situation. But another option, of course, is a little arbor-like thing, that little sanding pads. And that will be really good if you're just trying to get a big surface taken out. But once again, finite as compared to the tungsten carbide deburring tools. So a little bit of extra tidbit there. All right, I'll do a little bit without a time lapse, but I'm not going to talk much because I'm going to put my respirator and mask on, and I'll sound like this. Hello, guys. I am your father. I'm really not your father. Please don't take that to heart. So the trick, if you can't tell, is speed, evenness of the actual cut, so keeping it level, and on top of which you want to constantly keep it moving. It's more like sculpting than really anything else. You don't want to take a lot of material off, you just want to just glide right over where you're. I can't actually see, I have my mask over my eyes so I can talk. But you want to just glide over it, and then you want to feel the texture to it, because once you put paint on it, a lot of the texture will go away, but at the same point, you're not going to bury everything. So All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start fast forwarding for you guys. All right, guys, so the whole exercise of this is just to remove the burrs and kind of produce a better looking engine overall. Mind you, a lot of this you may not end up seeing. I don't know what this may end up being in down the road, so I'm just going to go ahead and clean it up as much as I can. Feather it in where you can so that you don't get, you know, hard line and then straight into a casting. So feather it in. A lot of this will end up being filled by the paint, because any paint you're going to be putting on an engine is probably going to be heavy ceramic paint, but you know, there's going to be a lot of deburring yet to do. So I'll work on that. You don't have to watch a full episode of me sitting here grinding it all off, but I kind of want to give you a little bit of a forewarning. You know, when you're getting something that is like this right here, this is really light stuff. You're going to end up burning through it really quick. Keep it moving. Don't overheat the metal. Keep going back and forth until you get where you want it to be, and then when you're done, you're done. Nice, slow, steady will win the race. And then just, you know, don't take things out like this right here. You can see there's a burr going across right here where my thumb is, going all right through there. Take a little bit out. You're looking for like a sculpture. At the end of the day, you're not trying to take chunks out. You're not trying to take ridges out that are obviously there for a reason. Don't take this ridge out, for example. You know, don't take this out. Don't work this all the way flat. There's a reason why it's designed that way. You know, you'll end up getting things just from the casting. There's that lip right there. You know, obviously that was not deliberate. This right here, if you look at it, there's a little burr I knocked out, but I'm sorry, this right here, I knocked a little burr out, but if you can tell, to me, this looks like that's actually meant to kind of stabilize the piece that goes there. So this line right here is deliberate. You know, this line right here is deliberate. You have a lot of those very deliberate cuts. This is a very deliberate cut. You know, I don't need it anymore because the admissions that went there is not going to be used. But you know, if you look over your engine, you're going to find a lot of things that are deliberate. Don't grind them off. They're either going to be structural, or you're going to need that material so that the thing doesn't fold off on yourself. But like this was the same thing as the front. That's not deliberate. This right here, I would say was not deliberate, or it was broken. I would say it wasn't deliberate. So maybe the front one's not deliberate either. But this one's chowdered up enough. We'll go ahead and clean that up. The front one looks deliberate, so we leave it. Now, the other warning is, if you're trying to keep the engine absolutely original, totally original. Oh, and this is something I noticed. There was a ground right here that was broken off. So that could have caused issues for why this engine didn't want to start up too. Every ground is important. So that was not me, that was like that. Yeah, we'll have to make sure that that gets properly grounded when it's all put back together. So spark plugs may not fire properly because you're not substantially grounded. But I have a lot more to do cleaning up wise. Most of the rest of the grinding on the block and the cleaning of the block I'll put in the time-lapse episode, which will just be a bonus episode someday. But I think that's gonna be it for this episode. Oh, my hands are gross. Remember guys, if you're trying to go for an all original and engine and stuff like that, and you're going to want to like there's different mindsets. Speed, original, you want something to be clean looking. Clean looking is a lot of removal of the burrs and the schmoo that was left behind. That's what I'm doing with this engine. If this was going to be completely original, in an absolute original car, don't cut it. Don't deburr it. Leave it as it was, as that will, in my mind, detract the value of the vehicle. I mean, this is never going to be original. Never. So, you know, let's go for looks. And this I would love to put in, like, I don't know, a hot rod Jeep Willys, you know, where you can see the whole thing. I don't really know. I don't know what tomorrow brings. But all I know is, if you're going for original, don't deburr it. If you're going for show, just deburr it. If you're going for speed, go to Uncle Tony's Garage on YouTube and watch how he takes it out, because he's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing. And that's all I have for this episode, guys. I'm gonna, like I said, I'll finish cleaning up everything, and I'll put a time-lapse episode. I don't know how long that episode will run, but it'll just be getting this engine where it needs to be. And actually, you know what? Before I end this episode, out of curiosity, didn't mean to hit that button. Out of curiosity, I want to take this valve cover off. I have not actually opened these valves yet. So let me put my mask away. I want to pop one of these valves off. I have never seen the valve train for a Buick, or a proper Buick, like not a GM engine that's, say, in everything else, like an LS from earlier 2000s. A proper Buick engine, which has a totally different valve setup than, say, a regular 350. So I'm gonna go get the tools to pop that open, and we're gonna take a quick peek. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna find the appropriate size for this bad boy. Look at that, first try. And we're gonna see what we got here. Probably should soak these things before they break off, but no, it's moving fine. So in the comment section down below, what do you guys think of the, what do you call it there, the Cybertruck? When this channel has enough money, and I think I'm probably going to annoy some of you guys, I don't really know. When we have enough money and we can get our hands on one, I think it has a lot of potential to look completely obnoxious. I'm not saying it's a good looking car, but it's about the most trollish type of truck that or vehicle I've ever seen. And I really think that doing a tube frame or something so that we can get a 8.1 with an Allison, like what we're putting in the Dodge, and just make it a tow monster. I don't know, put headers right through the, like, it'd have to be mid-engine, obviously, so they could fit, but put headers right, like, sticking out the top where the bed was and everything. Cut it so that the thing still, I don't know, maybe it comes out on the either side of where the door goes up. I'm not one to do such ridiculous things as that, but it just, to me, that truck is just begging to be completely obnoxious, and I think that'd be a fun thing to do on the channel. A not too serious build, just something crazy. And I mentioned it on my little TikTok channel there, which, if you want to go to the TikTok, same thing, LunarOutlaw's Garage, and I just post things as I think of them, or I guess little updates that I may not say directly here. You can also go to the Patreon. I will do things on the Patreon. I have separate tiers now, and as we start doing a little bit more content, we're going to have a little bit of I guess sneak peeks on the Patreon. We of course also have the t-shirts, which I'll post right here for just a second. The t-shirt design that I absolutely love, and I think really represents the Buick GS that we have here absolutely beautifully. And I'm glad we got this thing. I'm glad it's not rotten in the hole. And She does need a lot of work, but some things are worth being brought back to life. And that thing is completely... There's so much crap in the top of this. I can't even get to the two of the bolts. Alright, so this is fun. You gotta love it. Falling behind, you know, someone that... I have nothing nice to say about that, but falling behind someone that probably should never have been working on an engine in the first place. I can't get this one on there. The bolt right here is missing. Unless it was never there. It's hard to say, but... Nope. Look at the rust from these valve covers. It's safe to say that I can almost put my finger through the backside of that, where these valve covers are done. Before I go and take this off the rest of the way, I'm going to go get the vacuum cleaner and vacuum this out. I don't want any of this falling in. Wow, that is bad. The little washers that go along here on the other side of this are actually flaking apart like a butter biscuit. That's disturbing. So we'll go ahead and get the vacuum cleaner after I get this bolt out. Alright, so this bolt is totally rounded over. This one, it almost looks like it was broken off. There's definitely one there at one time. You can see where it's worn the steel. Also, why would they just put something like that there, like a hole? It had 6. So I have a feeling either A, it was never put in, which I'm really hoping that's the case, and I don't have to use an easy out there. But this one, I may need to drill this to the point where I can put an easy out in, because it's so rounded. I'll see if I can't find a smaller deep socket that I can pound on that I don't mind losing, but there's a good chance I'll be drilling this out and using an easy out. So working on this is really an eye-opener to just what kind of butchery could happen to a vehicle over the period of time that this one's been alive or been around. I might have to hit that on there. Fun. Proper machinist hammer. I think I'm gonna have to find a smaller bit, or this is gonna have to get drilled. Joyous. Yep. She's totally rounded. Alright, so you're gonna definitely want to be very careful doing this. You're only gonna get one shot before this becomes an absolute nightmare. So we're going to aim to get this drill bit absolutely as straight as can be. And before you start drilling in there, the way you do that, well, to be centered and then straight, the very first thing you need to do is punch it. Alright, so the very first thing you want to do before you start drilling a hole, and you're going to want to get progressively larger until you're the diameter you want for your easy out, is to put a center punch right in the center of that bolt. Should be wearing safety glasses for this. I'm not right now. Not that you can see that, but once you're confident that you're in the center, give her a couple good lug taps. Remember, she's going to want to wander on you. So each time after you tap it, make sure she's still in the right spot. After you got your love taps in it, Once again, should be wearing safety glasses. Yep, she still wandered. Don't go too far in. The head's probably going to break off on this. Hopefully it doesn't. But kind of, I think it might actually have a smaller easy out that will work perfect for this. I think I do. I have a couple, but that one's probably too small. This one is probably perfect. Couple taps into that, tappity tap tap tap. You're going to want to get a little wrench, and you're going to do that counterclockwise like you were going to unscrew it, and this will actually drive itself in. I really like this style easy out. I think it's way better than some of the other styles. So don't use the drill. Wow, you can feel just how much weight was naturally reduced from the valve covers. All right, so now, it took me a while to find it. I'll have to re-tappity tap that in, but you're going to want to use a tap handle, not a drill. You can use a wrench, they're not as good, but tap that in. Apply a gratuitous amount of pressure because you're going to want this to bite into it. And it's not going to bite, is it? Nope. Problem is, it just slid right down the shaft there. So I missed the, there we go. Missed the teeth that time around. Okay, there we go. All right, now we have that in there, right? Give that a couple taps. Start rotating it and hopefully it'll bite. No, it's not biting still. Nothing could ever go to plan, can it? All right, I have a feeling this thing's gonna just have to be drilled off, and maybe we might be able to get it out that way. Actually, because that washer's there, we might be able to get enough material remaining after we knock the head of this off to get a pair of vice grips on it. That'd be pretty cool. Unlikely, but pretty cool. Could get a bigger bit. Swear getting it centered is very important. I actually think we might be in pretty good shape. Nope, apparently that wasn't on my belt. There it goes. Alright guys, before we open this up, we're going to vacuum it one more time. Okay, so I'm going to go put this stuff away before it gets lost or accidentally knocked over and I have a million pieces all over the place. Once again, one of my favorite things, leather hammer, mallet, whatever you want to call it. Mallet. Light taps. Just enough to break. So, here's a question. I've called a couple places. I'm trying to find these rubber valve cover gaskets for this, and almost everyone only has the cork ones. I don't know. I know who will know this question. Mike, if you're at this point in the video, where can I get these rubber gaskets? Oops. You're probably the only person that I know that would know. I'll probably just message you over Facebook. You're like the awesome guru that is Buick and Oldsmobile and Pontiac. I can't wait to see your 455 put together, running and dominating everyone down in that area. For all of you that are listening on this, Mike was the gentleman that sent up the there we go, sent up the frame, and we owe him a great gratitude and thanks, which that didn't make much sense, but there you go. How long has that wire been sitting there? Yeah, that's the battery, battery backup. Okay, so we're gonna fold this towards you guys, and we're gonna see what kind of condition these are sitting at. Here we go. Oh boy, that's not good. Oops. So it would appear, oh yeah, that bolt was broken off, or maybe that's just schmoo in there, but ooh, oh my god, guys, that's so not good. Look at that. Oh man. That's some pretty gnarly stuff right there. Curious what the other side looks like. I'm not going to dig in that today. This is just absolute disgusting trash in here. I'm glad I popped this off before. Oh man, I mean, guys, how even does that happen? It's about the worst valve cover taking off reveal I've ever had. That is absolute trash. Didn't I put gloves on so that gloves never stay on me? They never stay on. Oh man. That's pretty gnarly, guys. Let's see if any of them are stuck. Oh, I figured right from the start, I was like, this thing is going to be an easy build. This isn't going to be bad at all. I was definitely made out to think that this was in a lot better shape than it is. Man. Well, that's good. They all move. They're all free. It looks like someone had Big League Chew and spit it right inside the valve cover. Or not the valve cover, but right into the top of the head. And it looks like Big League Chew. Which, if you guys don't know what Big League Chew is, you both missed out on a big portion of your childhood and lucked out. Oh man, guys, I think we're gonna have to drop the oil pan. Just every time I turn around. Every time I turn around, guys. That's worst part is that's when your oil journal's right there. See the other side. Ooh, guys. Oh my God. But how? Why? Why is it that gray? It's gray. It's not even like... I've seen a lot of colors inside of an engine, but like Battleship Gray is not one of them. Like, I can understand this. This is poor maintenance, you know, never doing oil changes or something. You know, not this Battleship Gray. Like, I've seen water in oil before, but I don't know, guys. With that disappointment, I hope the other side's not like that. Well, if you guys want more content, this thing is definitely giving it to you. Whoever was like, I really wish he produces more content for the channel that I can watch. Damn you. But we're gonna go ahead and put this total trash back on here, and we'll get the broken bolt out another day. See if the other one just needs to be cleaned out. Alright guys, I appreciate you all for subscribing to the channel, and if you're not subscribed, remember, hit that subscribe button. If you haven't hit that little bell notification next to the subscription thing, if you hit that little bell thing in it, you can actually be notified the moment I upload something. And for the time being, I think we're gonna just drain the oil, take the oil pan off, which we need a new oil pan anyways, and see what the bottom end looks like. I have a feeling that we're gonna be alright. And if we need to do a full build on this engine, we'll do a full build on this engine. I mean, I don't want to put the engine in there and then drive down the road and it blow up on me. So it's a good engine. We might as well make sure it's right. So guys, remember, hit that like button if you enjoy the content. Hit the subscribe button. It helps the channel. Fantastic. Helps the channel greatly. I appreciate you all coming out and watching the channel, and just, you know, hit that comment section down below. I would love to see more comments down there. Just ideas, thoughts. If it's off topic, go for it. No, let's have a conversation. Let's have this more than just me wrenching on the engine and finding miserable conditions. I was kind of hoping, if you guys follow the channel regularly, that would be like the valve cover reveal from the Honda Accord, which I'm glad that engine was saved, because that was a good engine. So I really thought that was going to be totally nasty. I lifted the valve cover on that and I was like, wow, this is beautiful. And I lift the valve cover on this hoping for the same thing, which I should know better by now. Not a darn thing on this thing has been like, oh wow. Except for all the windows are good. There's the body straight, so we're going to get her back on the road and we're going to do it right. Or not at all. So hit the subscribe button, guys. I appreciate it. You have yourselves a wonderful night.